Hey guys, Uncle Ray, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel we cut through the hype and the noise, and I give you the non-biased information you can use to hopefully capitalize on the biggest opportunity in history, and that is this current bull run. Now, I do my research for me and I share with my community. And if you've been following my channel at all for the last couple of years, especially in the bear market, I was stacking HBAR under 5 cents, and I've said it 100 times, and it still holds true today. If you're looking for a solid blue chip that gives you the closest thing to a guarantee, which there are no guarantees in crypto, to a 10x, HBAR gives you that probability. Now, what led me to HBAR is my non-bias approach. I took thousands of tokens, did deep dives, and I compared across the board everything from the founder to the developer team to the tokenomics, the partnerships, the growth inside the ecosystem. I looked at all that and it led me to HBAR. And I'm here to tell you guys, I'm not biased. If some other project could beat HBAR, especially in the bear market, I would have brought those to your attention. But the truth is, when you compare HBAR, its layer 1 to any other layer 1, it stands alone in its uniqueness. And that's what I want to bring to your attention. And I tell you where else it shines is it has outperformed all other layer 1s almost combined as far as the number of transactions. HBAR has hit over 40 billion transactions. So when you start talking about micro payments and cross-border payments and low fees, guys, it's going to have to do, any project's going to have to do a mind-blowing amount to be able to sustain itself just like a company in the future. And HBAR is literally the only one doing that when you start talking about like really low fees. Yes, Bitcoin does it, Ethereum does it, and a handful of other projects, but HBAR is standing alone and proving that it can scale. Now, in this video, I really want to bring some things to your attention that makes it so unique, because if I had to hold a token outside of, say, Bitcoin for 10 years, HBAR would probably be the one. And I'm not going to hold HBAR for 10 years. I may buy it back for the next 5 bull runs. Who knows? But I'm going to sell everything in this bear market outside of my Bitcoin. I invest bull run to bull run, and I highly recommend you guys think about that too, because if you don't take your profits, you'll become the profits, and we know that 99% of all tokens are going to crash at the end of this bull run. And why would you possibly want to spend years stacking tokens and watch them 10x, 20x, whatever they're going to do, and not take those profits? That is bad, faulty thinking, guys, in my opinion. Anyway, I could talk about the stablecoin project, the stablecoin studio, CBDCs that are stacking inside of the HBAR ecosystem and all the projects they're working on. I could talk about the governing council, but I'm not. I'm going to try to tell you what separates HBAR. And the only sectors that HBAR has not really been a dominant player in so far is like AI and gaming. And those are two sectors that they're really, really working hard to become a dominant player in, and I have no doubt that they will. Now anyway, I've been saying for the last couple of months that I believe AI, gaming, and GambleFi will be the sectors that bring and produce the biggest gains, right? Well, DePIN might be one of those narratives that I didn't mention, so I'm going to add that to the list. And here's some good news, guys. Check this out. Now, before I click on this, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps get out the word about HBAR, helps grow the community, and we appreciate it. Check this out, guys. This is a new project being built on Hedera.
Network of drones across the UK initially, and then I believe expanding out. But this is a true deep-in network. Deep-in networks in Web3 can cover a lot of things, but the ones that, of course, take the most media spotlight are the ones that have those tokens, because both, community members can get involved with their own hotspot, earn tokens, and it has that speculative side as well as that deep utility side. So for me, Neuron are a big, big project in the Hedera ecosystem, launching an HF token, which I'll definitely be checking more out of.
Now that project is Neuron, and I highly recommend go check it out. But it is a drone project, and guys, if you think about drones in the future, you're literally going to order food and it's going to be delivered through a drone, and the regulation across the world is going to be immense, just like ESG, which ESG is, I truly believe, especially across the board for ESG, Hedera is setting the standard and will capture the lion's share for the next at least 5 to 10 years. But we're not even going to talk about that, and I could talk about that for hours. But check out these numbers, guys. Around the world, they're saying that there's going to be almost 3 billion drone flights between now and 2026. And there's over 1.2 million sensors required. Well, when the regulation kicks in, they're going to want to track those things from A to Z. And that's when these projects like Neuron are going to have the chance to set the bar. Here's the point I'm trying to make, and I know I'm rambling, but bear with me. This stuff is hard to keep up with. It's so much information. Is one thing that you have in Hedera with the governing council, they're world beater corporations, right? They are leaders, and they're building out these very unique applications that the world is going to need. Well, once they figure all that out, there's a good chance that that is going to be the standard. And then when you see IBM and Accenture and Avery Dennison and corporations like that being extremely successful in their blockchain applications and what they're doing for Web3, and they're jumping out front, all these other corporations are going to follow them. Well, if they're using HBAR, why would they go to another layer one? Just something to think about. Now, here's some of the things that are happening that not many people talk about. Now, this is the founder of HBAR, and he's with the founder of Algorand, which they have a partnership. Now, I'm not really going to dive into that partnership because I really don't think it's that big a news for HBAR, more so for Algorand. And I'm going to do a video on Algorand and XRP and XLM and Quant and Link, the older blue chips, and talk about those. So if you haven't subscribed, do so, because we're going to talk about the state of those blue chips. But I was watching a video or podcast a while back with they were talking to the people on the governing council, or about the people in the governing council, and they said, well, is there anything that governing council is working on combined? And they said yes. Basically onboarding people and making Web3 easier, right? Instead of having to open up a wallet or have to learn all that stuff, the entire governing board of HBAR understands that they have to solve that problem to get mass adoption. So they were all throwing in their 2 cents to work on the same issue. Well, that leads us to this partnership with Hedera and Algorand. They've came together and said, hey, let's take all this information to and put it together and start building out that application really, really strong. And if it works out, which I believe it will, it'll become one of the standards, and then that whole governing board will adopt it, and it can go around the world, is my thought process. So check this out.
We have wallets involved, and we want to get even broader people like password managers involved.
That's great. It's just great. I mean, I'm really excited about it because for the first time when I spoke to Lehman about this, there was nothing about it I didn't like. It was easy for us to jump into it because it's honestly great for the industry. If a technology like this can be proliferated across all the different chains, and wonderfully, I've spoken before publicly about the fact that the crypto industry or the Web3 industry tends to be quite tribal, a little bit like football clubs, everyone's got their favorite. But what's wonderful about this, and what's so important, is that it really does implement a protocol which can be adopted by anyone without any favoritism.
Got it. And so the important thing here is that it be interoperable. We have one standard. It doesn't even matter what the standard is. And this will become an IETF standard. This is going to become real standards. But the important thing is that you have a wallet on one blockchain, and I have a password manager, and somebody else has the app that they use to access their bank. And each of us can be helpers to each other and sharing information with each other because it's interoperable. That's the important thing, is that we have one standard, that it's open, that it's reviewed by everyone, that it becomes actual internet standards. This is the important thing. 10 competing standards where every wallet can't talk to each other is bad.
Right, absolutely. Well, and
so guys, that's one thing, in my opinion, that separates Hedera. They are a leader, layer one, a leader community among all the other projects out there, in my opinion. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Aberdeen project, but guys, Aberdeen was one of the first huge hedge fund type projects that has tokenized their hedge fund, and they are setting the bar. And I'm doing this by memory. I didn't research this again. I followed this for a long time. They've already tokenized like $50 million worth of their fund. They are setting the standard. And that's another thing I see across crypto is, we all know that real world assets and tokenization is going to be the future, right? Everything that we own is going to be tokenized. Stocks, bonds, your car, your house, everything's going to be tokenized. And they're like, well, it's going to be built on this. It's going to be built on this. Well, HBAR is already a cutting edge player. They are doing it big time with their Guardian protocol, that's the ESG tracking and the tokenization of I can't think of it. The tokenization of your carbon footprint. They are dominating and setting the standard across the world with that, and that's what separates Hedera. Now, Avery Dennison has the Atma.io, and that's one of the biggest reasons that Hedera can hit numbers like 40 billion. These are old numbers, guys, and I wish they would update what they're up to. But check this out. Avery Dennison has already tokenized, or not tokenized, they have already did supply chain management for over 22 billion different items. Is that right? Yeah, 22 billion items has already been tracked through their project on Hedera, on HBAR. And another thing, guys, that I want to really mention, and a lot of people don't want to hear this, but like when you hear projects and like partnerships with, say, Ripple, like CBDCs and cross-border payments, well, it doesn't mean that they have to buy or own XRP at all. You can build a CBDC on the XRPL, and you don't need to ever own XRP. Well, the point about that is, well, another point, and I know people aren't going to like this, but, with Stellar, one of their biggest moves is MoneyGram. Well, come to find out, guys, you don't use XLM. MoneyGram didn't have to buy a huge allocation of XLM to do cross-border payments. And they're basically using USDC, and USDC is using the rails, but they're not using XLM. The point about that is, well, if they built that on Hedera, you have to use the token HBAR. And that separates them, again, compared to a lot of projects out there. Now, here's another thing that shows what I'm trying to say about young, cutting-edge utility projects. This is a project called Jam on HBAR, and it's early. Even though it's been around a little while, they just raised an additional $20 million. And this is a platform for artists to get paid like micro payments in the future for everything that they launch, whether it's an album or whatever. And it helps them build a powerful, decentralized community where you don't have third parties like their management team or agencies taking a piece of their pie. It's going to help the artist in the future be self-sufficient and pretty decentralized or centralized, but for them, right? And here's the point about that. This may not make it, but if it does, it will become the standard, and all the artists will want to do the same thing. And that's the type projects that are being built on Hedera. For instance, here's another thing. Now, one thing that made me extremely bullish after I stopped hating Ethereum was when I found out about the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. Well, when I found out like IBM and Google and Microsoft and JP Morgan, all those guys got together and they were going around the world telling everyone, if you're going to build, here's the standard, the ERC20, you need to build on Ethereum, etc. After I got mad about that and realized we're not having that decentralized utopia, I realized how powerful that is. Because guys, when it's all said and done, the central banks, the governments, and Wall Street are going to dominate probably 90% of everything Web3, from DeFi, the metaverse, payments, you name it. So we can fight that, or we can try to front run it. But here's another major corporation called Reality Plus, and they have built a project on HBAR. But what they do, they go around the world with their big customer base, which a lot of it is in like the BBC and in media, and are teaching them how to build and come into Web3 on the blockchain, and they're bringing them into the Hedera ecosystem. Now, yes, I know technically Hedera is not a blockchain, but you understand my point. Now, here's what I really, really want to bring to everyone's attention, and this, in my opinion, separates HBAR from everyone. Now, we know like FEDNOW. Well, I've done a lot of research to FEDNOW. And whether we like it or not, you're going to have players like FIS Global. And they are going to dominate the flow of money in and out of Web3. Well, they've partnered with Hedera. And Hedera's not going to be the mechanism to give all that liquidity in and out of FEDNOW. FIS Global is. They already are dominating the flow of money with like JP Morgan, but they have built out a liquidity pool. They've actually done everything, for instance, Ripple wants to do. They're already doing it. But why is that important to Hedera? Well, FIS Global arguably is the most dominant player when it comes to like cross-border payments, even more so than like SWIFT. Well, this consensus mechanism works on both sides, and it basically just guarantees and validates and timestamps everything on both sides. So we know that DLT technology is the future. Guys, you're not going to need the tokens like you think, and that's a whole different conversation. But before that ledger releases those funds or releases that token, right? And when I say token, I mean everything that's tokenized, right? Before that gets released, that consensus documents that on both sides. And Hedera is the only one that I know has that, and it's getting crazy adoption. And that's why, think about it, like when FEDNOW gets really going and payments are being sent, every time someone sends a payment through FIS Global, who I think, and I'm doing this by memory, did like $47 trillion worth of payments, or the flow of money, last year. So every time that money flows, there's two points of contact. They're going to need HBAR, the consensus mechanism, and that's why they're over 40 billion. Guys, they're on track to do 100 billion transactions this year. They're doing about a billion transactions a week, and that is something that is just cutting edge. It's the most scalable blockchain out there right now. Now, let's look at the chart. Now, as HBAR started getting up toward, above, what did it hit, 10 cents? I didn't even realize it quite went to 10 cents. To me, that's about as high as I personally want to stack HBAR, unless I'm just going to do a swing trade or something, or if you've got a large amount of money and you're looking for a 5, 7, 10x or something, then it makes sense. But I like it down at 5 cents, 6 cents tops. Well, right now we're at about, 6.5 cents. And if you look at the technicals, if it breaks this area, and you see these two pink lines down below, that's probably the next support, and that's around 6 cents. And if you look at this channel, guys, a lot of people think that is very bearish. Well, it's bearish until it breaks out of that channel. See, most people want to buy when something's pumping like all the way up. All right, right? Everyone wants to chase that FOMO. What you want is when it gets that down channel, if you have the conviction that it's going to break out to the upside. The more it goes down, the more opportunity to stack. That's how the game is played. Now also, if you look at this 21-day moving average, among people that are true traders and been around a long time, the 21-day moving average is about a simple way to know about should I be stacking or buying or whatever. It is a great indicator. Study up on it if you're not familiar with it. But if you look at it, guys, in a bull market, when everything's bullish, it tends to bounce off the 21-day moving average until it goes down to like the 200-day. It's a whole different conversation. But when it gets above that and it stays above, that's bullish. But when it gets under, and you can see it gets under that 21-day moving average, guys, that is the time to start dollar cost averaging in. And the further away, just like the further away it gets here, means, hey, I probably should start taking some off the table. The further away from it gets, the better buying opportunity you have. Well, right now, it's under the 21-day moving average. It's in this channel. It doesn't really have anything holding it up until it gets down to this first pink line, which is like under 6.5 cents. So realistically, I think we have an opportunity to stack more HBAR at 6 cents. Guys, that's a no-brainer in my opinion, not financial advice. But if you're looking for a good, solid, older blue chip, guys, HBAR is still in the game. Now, meme coins have changed, and for the life of me, I didn't think I'd be talking about meme coins hardly at all ever in my crypto future. But as we've seen, got like Bonk and Pepe and what Shiba and them did in the past, guys, pretty much meme coins are the way that ecosystems onboards just new blood. New retail people come in, and maybe they only have $500, $1,000, maybe even $100. And they see projects like Bonk and go, wow, a guy literally became a millionaire stacking $100 worth of Bonk. So meme coins, guys, everyone should have maybe even 100. If it's maybe only $100 in them, but everyone should have meme coins in their wallets. Well, I guess GRELF is the only meme coin on Hedera that I know of. I'm sure there might be 5 by now. But HBAR, the whole ecosystem and the developers have not really been the kind that like meme coins. But I believe when HBAR has its day, and it will, in this bull run, well, people are going to run to the meme coin. That's probably one to throw some pocket change into. Highly recommend it. Now, I've mentioned Humans.ai. That's an AI play in the ecosystem. It's done extremely well since I last mentioned it. I think it's at the peak from my last video. It did like a 6x. It's like everything else. It's pulling down, pulling back. But go look at Humans.ai. Now, SaucerSwap. I could be wrong about this play, but I remember watching a very successful crypto investor, young guy, like a year or two ago. And he made most of his money in PancakeSwap because of being in. And he was watching a video on the founder, the way he explained it, and he said, you know, we're launching this and this, and they were the dominant player for bringing new tokens on. He said, well, people are going to need to swap that. So he loaded the boat on PancakeSwap, and he did extremely well. Well, I believe that HBAR is going to have its day. And all these influencers that haven't been following HBAR, once this thing gets to, say, 15, 20 cents, it's going to get on their radar. And when they do a deep dive, it's going to blow them away of all the adoption and all the positive stuff being built. For instance, you know, the only thing anyone can say, in my opinion, negative about HBAR is about its tokenomics. And it doesn't have the best tokenomics. However, here's what got me past it and made me extremely even more bullish due to its tokenomics. Most projects, and I'll compare it to XRP or XLM, when they dump, which they constantly dump, most of that goes to Ripple's bottom line, into the early investors, the early founders' wallets, makes them wealthy. Well, when HBAR has a big unlock or big release, guys, they throw it right back into the ecosystem. They have like 5 different projects going on, and I don't mean projects, but like the foundation and the groups that onboard new developers around the world. That's where that money goes. So that is a big difference, because when a project makes money, and most crypto projects, guys, were built to make the early people and the developers and the founders extremely wealthy, and they don't keep putting money back into the ecosystem. Well, as far as I know, HBAR puts more back than any other project. Now, that may not be 100% correct, but I know it's on the leaderboard for that. Anyway, SaucerSwap. There's going to be a lot of big money that don't want to sell, for whatever reason, their HBAR. Maybe because of taxes. Because, see, it's a big difference from someone, say, putting in 10,000 and someone putting in, you know, a 10 million or 100 million, right? They want to stake it and keep it long term, or run a node or whatever. Well, that's where SaucerSwap comes in. And it has the largest amount in the ecosystem of total value locked, and it's not even close. So SaucerSwap is a great pick. Plus, from the bottom of this bear market to the top, I think it's already done a 10x, and again, it's pulled back. And guys, I know a 10x sounds like a lot, but you got to stop looking at the 10x amount, because think about it. XRP's done like a 32,000x from day one. So has Bitcoin and Matic and Polygon. So you got to look at the market cap. And in this case, compare the total value locked of SaucerSwap to some of the other layer ones that have billions locked. So it still has a lot of room to run, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, I know I'm rambling on, but I wanted to get this video out to you, and hopefully you understand the difference between HBAR and its very unique niche that it has that most projects don't. Because again, Wall Street is going to be a big dominant player and take over the majority of crypto. And yes, you have Ethereum. You're going to have the Coinbase ecosystem and the Bitcoin ecosystem for sure. But I think HBAR is one of those ecosystems that are here for at least the next 10 years, if not the next 100 years. All right, guys, that's all I got. Let me know if you're bullish about HBAR. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Hit that like button. But either way, come back and be part of this community. And if you need some help, guys, with building out your portfolio and understanding when to dollar cost average, I do one-on-one coaching. I'll leave a link down below. Reach out and I'll give you that information. Take care, guys.